Hi guys, so today I'm going to be talking about what has helped me to be successful at breastfeeding and kind of tips that I have learned along the way and things that I wish I would have known before I had breastfed or were told to me in the classes that I took before I started breastfeeding. Let me just put a little disclaimer out there. I am by no means judging any mother who decides to do something that is with her own body or decides to formula feed. That is your business, your decision, your child. I am a firm believer in parenthood being not a one way to do it. I think that every parent has choices to make and you do what is best for your family. This video is going to be, like I said, my personal experiences with breastfeeding, as well as things that I have learned along the way. I am not a lactation consultant. I am just taking information that I have received over the years from credited sources and giving you guys my 2 cents and also what kept me going. My son just weaned probably about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. He's 2.5. So I am gearing up and re-educating myself for the newborn breastfeeding stages that will be coming in August. Number 1 is your support system. I cannot stress this enough. Your support system, it is what is going to make you stick with breastfeeding. So, number 1 is I would say that you should take a breastfeeding class. Hands down. Even if you've breastfed, for a while or whatever, like I plan on taking a refresher course just to make sure that I know, just to put myself in that mindset. So I might take that refresher course. I would suggest if you take a class to take someone with you who is going to be with you majority of the time on your breastfeeding journey, whether it be your spouse, your mom, a relative, or whatever. I took my husband. The reason why I say that it's important for you to take one of the people that is going to be your main support system is because sometimes they can pick up on things in the class that you may not. For example, it was probably when my son was about 3 weeks old. I was having such a hard time with like breastfeeding and latching and everything. And my husband actually was able to kind of get down there and kind of look how my son was latching. And he was able to say, hey, we learned this in class. Let's unlatch him. And I can look from this angle to see if he's getting that deeper latch. Now that's something that I couldn't do because in the early days, I had to feed my son in the football hold. And that is pretty much where you're literally holding him like a football. So I couldn't really see how my son was truly latching. So it was nice that my husband was able to take what he had learned from the class and help out with me in those early days. Another way that you can have a support system is if your family or your spouse is not really supportive, is to go to breastfeeding support groups because you learn with that one-on-one. Like the hospital, see if the hospital that you gave birth at had, newborn classes. The one that I gave birth at, a lactation consultant actually kind of overheads and oversees the group. So that's really nice when you go there and you realize that you're not the only one that's going through those breastfeeding hurdles. Another one is Leche League. That is another good one to look at. And you can go there, and that support group is specifically for breastfeeding. The hospital one support group will probably be, it's a mixture kind of, how to take care of your newborn, sleeping habits, all that stuff. But if you go to a Leche League, that one is specifically for breastfeeding. So that way they'll be able to show you how the baby needs to latch properly, what you need to look for if baby is not getting enough, all of those things. Another good way to do it is sometimes, those places aren't open, obviously 24/7. And when you're a new mom, you're breastfeeding around the clock. So I joined some breastfeeding support groups, which are great on Facebook. So a couple of these groups that I'm going to name are the Leaky Boob. You can also join Le Leche groups on Facebook. You can also do breastfeeding support for Black women. Now, before you say, why is there one specifically for Black women? It is because Black women are the least likely group to breastfeed for a long period of time. It's not a surprise that with different groups from different backgrounds, you're going to have different obstacles. As a Black woman, you go through different obstacles than someone who is maybe Latina or someone who is white or someone who is of Asian descent. they're just different things that you go through. And so this specific group that I am in, I absolutely love it. It is run by Lactation Consultants. It is something that is definitely great. So I definitely suggest that if you are a Black woman who needs that support, and maybe your family doesn't give you that support, or maybe they're giving you, old information, and you're looking for that support. So definitely that would be a group that I would join as well. Another one, big support is a lactation consultant themselves. Look into your insurance, see if they will cover a lactation consultant. Look into your hospital, see if they have a lactation consultant on site. So after you give birth, they can be right there with you. You need to keep that lactation consultant on speed dial if need be. It's so important to have that because they have seen everything and done everything. So they can definitely help you out. Keep in mind, a lactation consultant is just like a doctor. Sometimes you may have to ask for a second opinion. If what they're saying is working, but just not working, maybe their temperament is just not meshing well with yours, always find another lactation consultant if you can. It makes such a difference when you can vibe with your lactation consultant, and that way they can help you as much as possible. Another tip is to trust your body. Now, sometimes you're going to have very well-to-do friends that maybe they had a difficult time with breastfeeding, so they automatically assume that you may also have those same hurdles. That is not true. Just like with birth, every breastfeeding experience is completely different. I have had friends that had constant issues with clogged ducts, mastitis, milk bleps, just different hurdles that they had to overcome that I didn't. I had to deal with clogged ducts and overproduction, forceful letdown. Like, these are things that I had to deal with. So I spoke with my lactation consultant and made sure that I was getting the correct help to deal with the problems that I was going through at the time. One thing that I will say is that you definitely need to trust your body. One of the main things that people always complain about is low milk supply. We have it in our head sometimes that, I'm not pumping enough, so I must not have enough milk. That is not true. The pump is not indicative to how much milk you are actually producing. I personally could not pump more than about 2 ounces the entire time that I have breastfed my son. And some women just don't, they just don't, I can't even think of the word, pregnancy brain, sorry. The pump and them just don't get along. Like, the pump just does not do what it needs to do. It is a known fact that a baby is better than the pump. The baby knows how to get that breast milk out better than a pump. So I was able to breastfeed my son, like I said, for that 2.5 years without having to supplement any formula, also without having to take, the things that they have on the market, the mother milk tea, the fenugreek, lactation cookies, all that stuff. You need to trust your body. The only way that you will know if you are not making enough milk is by your baby's diaper output. Are they having enough wet? Are they having enough poop diapers? That is what you need. That is your inclination on whether your baby is getting enough milk or not. If the baby is not getting enough milk, again, speak with a lactation consultant because it could be hormonal. It could be something as simple as them having a lip tie, an upper or bottom lip tie that you can get clipped so that their latch can be wider, so that they can create the milk that they need to eat. So again, that's why it's so important. Whenever you feel as though that you have that low milk supply, in the back of your mind, you need to trust your body, look at the diaper output. If the diaper output is not doing good, speak with a lactation consultant immediately. See if there's any problem with your latch. See if there's any problem hormonal. It's very rare that there are hormonal issues at play. But a lot of times it could be something that's as simple as a lip tie. So definitely trust your body. This one is something that I wish they would have talked about in the class. Cluster feeding. Breastfeeding is a 24/7 job. A lot of times when you go to like your pediatrician or whatever, they're telling you that baby should be sleeping through the night, that baby should be sleep trained. No, that is completely different. Formula-fed babies are different than breastfed babies. Formula-fed babies have to take a little bit of time to break down what they have eaten. They need to make sure that they get all the nutrients, and it does take time. So they don't get hungry as often as a breastfed baby. Sometimes as a breastfed baby, it feels like it literally just goes through them. You are nursing every hour. And it's because their body absorbs all the nutrients that it needs. And so they need to eat more. Think about it. This baby is growing at a crazy rate. And so when they're going through these growth spurts, that's when they start doing that cluster feeding. That's when the baby is pretty much telling you, hey, I'm getting bigger. I need a little bit more milk. So I'm going to feed on you. So that way it tells your body that you need more milk. During these cluster feeding times, you may feel as though that you are about to go crazy. You may feel as though that you need a break. You're going to feel as though that, I'm just going to give this baby a bottle of pumped milk so I can get a little bit of rest, let dad do it. And that's perfectly fine. But if that is the case, if you are having dad or whoever it is feed the baby a bottle of pumped milk to give you a rest, you need to pump to make sure that you are telling your body that you need to have that milk. I will put a link down that you can go to. kellymom.com was my lifesaver. It is a very good credited website that again is run by lactation consultants, as well as all of the evidence-based information they have. They give you all the links to the studies, to where they're getting their information from. It is everything breastfeeding. I mean, any question that you have about breastfeeding late at night as a new mom or someone that hasn't breastfed in a long time, you type that in the search, Kelly Mom will come up. That is my go-to, my holy grail. I'm not even kidding. So it actually has an article about cluster feeding. It speaks about the times that babies do cluster feed. Usually I know like right off the top of my head, it's 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. It can go all the way up. It's pretty much like every other week up until baby is like 6 months. And then you have like the big milestones as well, 6 months, 1 year, all that stuff. Cluster feeding will make or break you. I'm not even kidding. You literally feel like all you're doing is feeding. I remember when my husband went to work, it was probably like, 8 o'clock in the morning. He didn't get home until late at night. I was still on the couch in my PJs, just feeding my son because I could not get up. It literally felt as though every single time that I was like about to get up, he would wake up and he would want to feed again. And just know that putting your baby to the breast as much as possible will help with your milk production. Skin to skin is another great thing. So if you feel like you have that low milk supply, automatically put baby to breast as well as skin to skin. It is so, so, so important. Another tip is that sometimes some hospitals will tell you that you need to feed baby formula right away because you're pumping and nothing is coming out. Newsflash, colostrum is in your body. It does not easily come out when you are pumping. It is a very thick, very nutritional, full of vitamins, everything that baby needs. Baby's stomach is so, so, so small when they first come out. They hardly need anything. It's just a little drop. They don't need much at all. Your milk doesn't come in usually between 3 to 5 days. And again, the way that you will know if baby is getting enough to eat is looking at that diaper output. Do not put all of your faith in pumping and how much you are getting out from a pumping session. That is not a good indicator of how much milk you're making. So that colostrum will usually be in your body from the time that baby is born up until you get your milk. I will say that when you do get that milk in, you will probably be engorged. It will probably feel like rocks. So again, speaking with your lactation consultant is very important because you don't want to do like I did and I pumped. I didn't listen to my lactation consultant. You want to listen to them. She told me to pump just a little bit, enough for a letdown, and then stop. Silly me, I was like, no, this feels good. I'm in pain. I'm going to keep on pumping until this is done. Yeah, what that led to is overproduction because then I was literally telling my body, I pretty much was making enough milk for twins and I had one baby. So you can imagine the pain that I was in. So listen to your lactation consultant. Your milk will come in. If you are engorged, if you are feeling a little pain, just pump a little bit until that let down and you're good. Another tip. If you decide to do breast milk from the tap, and breast milk from the bottle. It's important for you to understand what pace feeding is all about. When you are holding your baby with a bottle, a lot of times people just hold them like this and they just put the bottle in it. The milk really, even if you have a slow flow nipple, the milk is literally just coming right out and shooting right in the back of baby's throat. They really don't have to suck as much because that milk is like free flowing. When you are a breastfed baby, I'm just going to pretend like this is the breast, I guess. You literally have to start at the areola and bring it all the way down so that it comes out the nipple. So the baby has to work for their milk. You want to make sure, that's kind of like where that nipple confusion comes in, is baby gets frustrated because they have to work for milk at the breast. If they're being fed by bottle, they don't have to work for it. So that's where pace feeding comes in. I will put a link to a nice video kind of showing you pretty much what that is you're kind of sitting baby up and you're holding the bottle just kind of like the breast and you're making them kind of work for it and you're only feeding them an ounce at a time. So you feed them an ounce, burp them. If they're still hungry, you feed them an ounce. So another thing that I will say too is to go on kellymom.com to figure out what baby is supposed to be eating or how much baby is supposed to be eating. When you're feeding from the breast, obviously you're not really counting how many ounces. But I will give you a little tip that a lactation consultant did tell me is that by 6 months, a breastfed baby is usually eating around 6 ounces of breast milk. And after that is as most as a breastfed baby will get in one session is about 6 ounces. So completely different from formula fed babies. I mean, I remember making formula for babies that I used to watch and it was like 8 ounces and they would go through that bottle. But for breastfed babies, it's completely different. It's like when they're 2 months, it's usually around 2 to 3 ounces, 3 months. It kind of goes with their age. So if your baby is still hungry after, say that they're 3 months, you feed them 3 ounces, they're still hungry, and you're bottle feeding them, whoever is your caregiver or watching that baby, I would suggest to teach them about pace feeding and only feed baby an ounce at a time. So that way it kind of stretches and it's important. And that way you don't have that nipple confusion. Next, we're going to talk about breastfeeding pillows. Some people love them. Some people hate them. I will tell you, it really depends on the pillow. A boppy, I was not a fan of, mostly because the boppy is just like a pillow, literally like a pillow that just sits there and it really doesn't, it moves too much. If you're trying to move and you got your baby in the perfect position and say that you need to go over here to grab like a snack or whatever, you can't do it. Baby moves. One of my favorite breastfeeding pillows is this little ditty right here. It's called the My Breast Friend pillow. I don't really like the name, but whatever. It is a buckle. It has a buckle strap. This right here is your lumbar support across your back. This right here is the shelf for baby. It has it's foam and then it has the fabric across it. So there's 2 little foam places for you to have their head on whatever position that you're feeding baby. There's also a little pocket here so you can put like your little snacks or the remote or whatever it is that you need. Like I said, what I love about this is that it actually does clip so you can tighten it as tight as you need it. You can literally walk around with baby. So if you need to get up to do something, you can walk with baby and there will be no problem. This thing is not going to budge. I also like it because it really did help me when I did have to do like a football hold. I just made sure that I had a little bit of, back support on my sofa or whatever. But this really did help me to make sure that he was comfortable. It seriously is one of my favorite breastfeeding pillows on the market. Now, I will say that these are a little expensive. They do make them for twins as well. I think this one, I think runs about $50, but don't get all scared. You can go to consignment stores. I have seen them at consignment stores for as little as $10 to $17. So check out like baby consignment stores, like anything like that to see if you can find the My Breast Friend. Seriously, one of the best nursing pillows ever. Also, the cover is washable, so you can take that off, throw it in the washer, and wash it. Because we know babies sometimes spit up, or baby gets dirty, or you spill stuff. It's seriously one of my favorites. Another tip, nursing in public. This is seriously one of those gray areas, I say, is because if you're not comfortable with nursing in public, that's perfectly fine. If you are comfortable with nursing in public, yay you. It took me a little while to kind of get used to it. If you nurse with a cover, more power to you. If you nurse without a cover, I say go, do you. It's not a big deal. I will say that I am more of a girl that tries to cover. There have been instances where I have forgotten to cover or I've forgotten to do a 2-shirt method, and I was wearing a dress that I just had to pull it out. So I just used the whole hand. And sometimes it didn't work. It's just whatever. You got to feed baby. Baby needs to eat. You just do whatever. So I'll tell you 2 of the ways that kind of really helped me. So one of the ways is the 2-shirt method. I'm wearing like a shirt right now. So I would have a cami underneath, and then I have my regular shirt. So I literally could just pull the shirt down, latch on baby, put the shirt here, and it usually covers baby. Baby's perfectly fine. When my son got older, he did not want that. So I would get a muslin blanket. This one is, if they're very lightweight, they're very big. They're actually one of those like swaddle blankets. They're great. They can be used as like birth cloth swaddles. They can use to cover up your, if you're out in public and you want to cover up their car seat or cover up their stroller, this is breathable. They can breathe. I live in Florida, and my son, I've used this as a cover, a stroller cover before, like when we were out at amusement parks or whatever, because I wanted to cover him up a little bit more for the sun. And one of the ways that I actually do this is you literally just latch on baby. If baby is perfectly fine with it, you can completely cover up all the way. If baby's not fine with it, I will actually put a picture, because I'm actually nursing him. I'll put a picture and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But I literally kind of just cover up the top so you can't really see, and just cover it up to like baby's like little nose, and perfectly fine and acceptable I don't really want to use the word acceptable, because if you nurse a baby, it's acceptable, but it's it's comfortable for me. But like I said, there have been instances where I just whatever. It's just out there. It's just, you do what you got to do. So that's one of my tips is like with nursing in public, you just have to do it, and you just have to be comfortable with it. So whether that is uncovered or covered, you do what benefits you and baby best. So those are a few tips that really, really helped me. Like I said, I cannot stress enough to get a lactation consultant, to go to those support groups, and also to go online, kellymom.com. Great information. It kind of covers way more information than what this video is covering, of different obstacles that you may encounter while breastfeeding. I will leave you with this. Breastfeeding is one of the most amazing things that your body can do. Breastfeeding is something that is not only just a miracle, because your body's literally making milk, which is so crazy, but it's also a great bonding experience. With that being said, as a mom, you're a mom, but you're also a woman first. You're a human being. And sometimes you want that space. You are going to have a bad day with nursing. What I will say is that you should never stop breastfeeding on a bad day. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have a day sometimes where you probably give your kid to a family member, and your eyes, you're just crying, just tears, because it's just difficult. I will say, just keep it up. Like, just keep doing it. Don't quit on a bad day. Everyone has bad days with breastfeeding. Everyone, it's a learning process. Not only are you learning how to breastfeed, but your newborn baby is also learning how to breastfeed. And you can't really communicate with them because they're newborns, but once you guys master it together, it is seriously one of the most fulfilling relationships out there. And it is simply beautiful, and something that I absolutely am thankful and blessed that I was able to do for 2.5 years for my son. And I'm looking forward to doing it with this little one come August. So if you guys have any questions specifically about things that I've said in the video, please feel free to comment and put them below in the comment section. I will try to do my best to answer them. If you have like personal questions about it, feel free to message me and I will answer it as best as I can. But like I said, breastfeeding is definitely one of the things in life that when you experience it, it is something that is beautiful and stressful, and just, it's a lot of emotions, but you can definitely do it. And like I said, I cannot stress enough, your support system is the number one thing that you need in order, what really helped me in order to have a successful breastfeeding relationship. And I believe that's true with everyone. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. I will catch you later. Bye.